Hello everybody and welcome to Cinema Savvy. It is myself George and today I bring you a brand new movie review. This is going to be a spoiler-free review on Fantastic Beasts, The Secrets of Dumbledore, the third film in the prequel series, directed of course by David Yates. Now, if you're familiar with this channel, you'll know that obviously for a lot of newer films recently we've been splitting them into two. We do a spoiler-free review, which is what today's going to be. And sometimes for some films we'll have a spoiler discussion, or if there's topics we want to speak about in further length and more detail, then we'll do a second video at the end of the opening weekend. Now, before obviously we get into this interview, I want, as the usual stuff, obviously this is going to be a very different review. Obviously I'm going to talk about the film itself. There's a couple of other things I do have to bring up. But if you are new to the channel, as I said, we are a film channel. We do a lot of film stuff, new reviews, old reviews, retrospective discussions, a lot more. Loads of Harry Potter stuff's been done on the channel before, so you can see a box set just behind me there that I picked up recently. So this franchise has a lot of sort of history with me and sort of how I've grown up and whatnot. So it's gonna be really tricky if you're doing this, if I'm being really honest. And obviously a lot of you will know why, but before I do that, I said please do hit that subscribe button. We've got a lot more stuff we're working towards. And I said film reviews, if you're into all that kind of stuff, there's a lot more things. And social media is the best way to find out about what our videos are going to be, what's new, what's coming up, is following us on there. That's Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. And before I talk about the film, I'm going to obviously address a couple of things. So I've got home, it's past midnight now, just got home from the screening in London. This video's going to go up at 3 PM the day after, so obviously it's very late at night. A lot of travelling and not much turnaround to get this done. And yeah, I've seen the film today. Grateful to Warner Brothers as always for some of these screeners, but obviously I'm going to address this with some, obviously there's been a lot of things happening with this film. Obviously you've got the J.K. Rowling stuff, you've got all the Ezra Miller stuff, which is more and more keeps coming out. You've of course got the Johnny Depp stuff, and you've got the actor from the second one who is in prison now, who didn't film anything for the third one. Obviously you've got Catherine Watson stuff as well. So this film is littered with controversy before I even talk about the film. This is where I'm kind of appealing towards, I want to do this in more detail, but I'm not going to fill this review with all of that. I think if there is going to be a later discussion, maybe on the Sunday, I might go into a lot more of it then. But obviously it's a very delicate subject, especially with LGBTQ plus representation as well. There's going to be a lot of people opposing this film, which I fully understand, and if you do want to skip the film, that's not an issue with me. I can completely understand where you're coming from with that, whether you're a John Depp fan, allegiance of trans, all that kind of stuff. 100% do what is right. Obviously I don't want to be a hypocrite, I have seen the film, so I'm going to give my thoughts on the film as well, but a really, really tricky subject at the moment to talk about, and has mega affected this film's recent, even the Ezra Miller stuff, which is very, very recent. That's just another curveball the PR has to deal with. So yeah, talking about the film though, I'm gonna try to. I will bring up some of those points as I do speak about this film. First up, obviously, really quick thoughts on the first two. Loved the first one. Not so keen on the second one. The concept of a Fantastic Beasts film, a spin-off film, a random Harry Potter spin-off, I was here for. Loved the idea, loved the premise for. Obviously, I had the book back in the day with the came of the, I think it was a Red-Nosed Day in 2001 or something along those lines. And obviously it ended with the whole teaser Grindelwald, Colin Farrell. And I was like, oh, we're getting Grindelwald series now. I've read the books when I was younger, big fan of those books. The Grindelwald Dumbledore series is something I'd love to have seen, maybe a trilogy. So seeing Fantastic Beasts morph into what is this Dumbledore Grindelwald story is not odd, but it's weird it's called Fantastic Beasts. And if you look at the logo, look how small the Fantastic Beasts logo has now become. That's something that is I think people have clocked it now. This do start laughing at it, and it's gone so far past Fantastic Beasts, and yeah, sort of picking up where this one begins. This one begins where the last one ended. You've got Dumbledore still unable to see Grindelwald, a new Grindelwald, which I'll get to, and they've got to come together to save the Wizarding and the Muggle community. Now I'm not going to sit here screaming, whinging in the books, protect the law. All I'm going to try and do is give my spoiler-free thoughts. I'm not going to go into plot details themselves. I want to actually start with, even before direction, screenplay. Steve Kloves is back. One of the heroes of the film adaptations of Harry Potter. He was able to transform the quality of the book, how they're written, into that screenplay, and certainly what the first two films have shown is that an author can't just write a screenplay, especially the second one. And Steve Kloves, I want to say he's probably the MVP of this film. Him and James Newton Howard's score is actually fantastic for this film. I don't normally talk about score straight, but to me they're two of the three highlights of this film. yeah, they needed him back. Obviously, pre all the other dramas, bringing him back is a really important thing for me as a fan, but also where where these films are heading. As I said, it's been a PR disaster for a couple of years. Even pandemic was all delaying filming, 4 year gap between sequels, 3.5, 4 years now. So, it's not on everyone's mind. These were meant to be every 2 years from 5 films total, and obviously, pre-COVID they took time out to delay this one to change a couple of things and that's kind of how I feel this. I feel really muted. It's not just because it's late at night, but it's really hard to talk about this film without spoilers. I'm going to begin with Newt Scamander, played by Eddie Redmayne, who I think is fantastic in this film. Is it his best performance of the three films? No, because it has become a Dumbledore film. It's not got a problem with that. It's got Dumbledore in the title, but Eddie Redmayne is a fantastic lead as Newt. And in this film, you get a lot more of him than the second one. We get to actually see him in some fantastic beast, and it's really nice to see him. And he has one of the highlight scenes of the entire film. So Eddie Redmayne, I'm going to get out there. I really enjoy him in these films. Completely changed my mind on him as an actor, seeing him in these kind of roles. Obviously, the iconography of Harry Potter to British actors, especially some of the younger ones. It's nice to see these people playing older characters, sort of post that. And obviously, we get Brother Theseus, so I'm really enjoying it. But casting, I'm obviously going to get into the Mads Mikkelsen before I talk about Jude Law as Dumbledore. Mads as Grindelwald. I love Mads Mikkelsen. You can't go wrong with Mads Mikkelsen. However, unfortunately, you can occasionally go wrong with him, which is replacing an actor that should never, ever, ever have been told to leave the franchise, who was a victim of domestic abuse. And obviously, there's a big court case coming up. There's been a libel case in London against a newspaper, not against Amber Heard. So it's a mess, the Johnny Depp stuff. And I will say this isn't anything to do with the Johnny Depp things. I don't feel that Mads works in this film. I love Mads Mikkelsen so much, and I feel horrible for saying this about him. This is not one of his better performances. I feel like he's come on board last minute, which obviously we know he did start filming, and he's literally just been thrown in there, and it's Mads, Europe. I never got the chemistry between Jude Law and Mads Mikkelsen. I didn't ever look at him thinking, this is Grindelwald. Colin Farrell is the one I think so many people, the big what if of Fantastic Beasts is Colin Farrell. Could he stayed on? He absolutely nailed it. I know he was Percival Graves, but Colin Farrell in that film I absolutely loved. And then when you got the Johnny Depp twist, I was like, oh, well, I can see this working. And he is the highlight of Crimes Grindelwald, Johnny Depp. There's something about that character where he has that sort of unique approach to the role, the flair of the costume, the hair, the eye, everything. Whereas with Mads, and again, I love Mads, we have Mads Mikkelsen. Yeah, we've got a bit of the eye thing going on there with him. We've seen that done better in Casino Royale with him. The hair's pulled down, very sort of plain colours, and at no point do I ever feel that it's the same character as before. I know a lot of people say this is the whole Dumbledore thing. Obviously, when Richard Harris passed away, and obviously we got Michael Gambon come in, I can understand that comparison, but it's very, very different circumstances. And this is one of my biggest weaknesses of the film. I feel is Mads Mikkelsen. I never feel like he's there, and when we do get scenes with him and Jude Law, obviously there's a lot of discourse online about the relationship. Obviously, their exes and whatnot. Obviously, I don't have that background, so I think everyone has different takes. A few of the groups that spoke after the film tonight, differing opinions from people, that are gay, that have spoken about this film, the history with it. I felt like it came across okay. That's the best I can say about it. I never felt like there was something that, what I will say is Steve Klove's screenplay probably made it better than what it would have been if it hadn't have been him. But that is that, and I'm going to try and really quickly talk about Jude Law's Dumbledore, because I've got a few things I really want to talk about. I love him. The accent's a bit weird in this. He sort of dips in and out of like Northern Irish. I know it's the Michael Gambon connection, and it's like some pronunciations feel really weird, but he's got a fantastic bit in the film. He's great in it, and I'm starting to see Dumbledore to a point. Not the Dumbledore obviously we know down the line, but if you are familiar with Deathly Hallows' book, you'll know that he has a very, very murky past pre-Harry Potter, and I'm really enjoying seeing that being explored. And although this film is called The Secrets of Dumbledore, it might not mean Albus Dumbledore that the secrets are about, so do keep on out. That's a question a lot of people are asking. That's a question you have to find out for yourself if you do go and see it at the cinema. Ezra Miller, obviously, I'm not going to lie, when the first moment he came on screen, Shallow was playing inside my head. Recent events, absolute train wreck with him. I don't think he's actually that good in this film at all either. His character's completely sidelined. The terrible twist from the last film, they try and address it, they try and work around it, but it never works for them. I feel really negative about this film. I enjoyed it to a point. It's like a solid 3-star film, but yeah, Credence Barebones, awful. Dan Fogler, who I absolutely love as Jacob, he's amazing again, one of the MVPs of the series. Him and Eddie Redmayne just get on so well together when they're on screen. They're a really fun duo. And obviously, I want to talk about Catherine Waterston, kind of can't. She's in it, she's credited in it, but you can tell there's some stuff happening behind the scenes, which again, no one really knows the full outcome of what has happened there. A lot of varying legit sources, so maybe we'll find out in the next few months, who knows. I know we've got obviously Queenie, played by Alison Sudol, who I don't think is that good in this film. I don't think it's her fault, I think it's the source material. They're trying to right some wrongs off that last film, so if I'm going to sort of get away from the character to talk about the story, it is them on a mission to stop Grindelwald, and that is going to be a thing, and you can't really moan too much. It's a Harry Potter thing is stopping Voldemort every year, so it kind of makes sense for Fantastic Beasts to do something similar, but this film feels like an apology for the last one. It's a dramatic improvement on the last film. I'm going to say it's massively different. It's so much better in every way. It's more enjoyable to watch. The visuals are better. The dueling is better when we get action sequences. It's not just shot in complete darkness. This does the work a lot better, and there's not just ridiculous exposition every 10, 20, 30 seconds. And I'll say the highlight of this film is Jessica Williams, who's new to the franchise, new in this film. Complete standout, one of the most interesting characters we've met on the spot. Really fun seeing her on screen, how she interacts with the cast members, and her character as well is a really fun person to follow and to find a little bit more about them. Relationship with Eddie Redmayne's character Newt, the bit background, professors, and there's a lot of stuff in there that I really enjoyed from her character. So if there is another one, 100% she'll be straight back in there. I think she's absolutely delivered of this. And again, there's so many new characters in this film, or smaller characters with expanded roles. You didn't expect them to sort of pip through and be better than the main ones, and she absolutely did. So that is a massive plus for me. But I said it's a very tough review to do doing this one. I'm not going to lie. And if I'm going to talk about some of my negatives of the film, it's going to be the third act. It feels very predictable. Obviously, we are dealing with some not real life stuff, but if you know where the story goes, the story finishes in 1945, and we're not in 1945, so you need to worry about getting the giant duel, if that ever makes it there. But I feel like we get an ending to the film, and then we get a second ending, the scene after, and that second ending feels like the ending to a franchise. That feels like if they want to throw in the towel, they could. Now, will they, is the real big question. I would be very surprised if there isn't a fourth and fifth film, but I wouldn't be too surprised. It's kind of like 65-35 in its favour. It all depends on the box office for me personally, but the final scene feels like it is in there for this is a polite farewell if we are going to cut the series short by 2 films. And given the PR surrounding this film, you can understand why conversations have gone ahead. What can they do for the next film? We know what they can do for the next film, but it's going to be really interesting seeing how people do react. I mentioned the score is fantastic. It is probably one of the best things in this film by a mile. You could notice it straight away. It's not shot in any surprising way, but I will say that the last film was very dour, and as much as I love Johnny Depp, we just got a bit more characters. We get a bit more, not lightness from them. We don't need that, but there are some really fun scenes. And at the end of the day, this is a Fantastic Beasts film. You want to see some actual creatures, and we did get those. Some that serve a plot purpose, some that are just new and nice to see. And obviously, you get some ones people enjoy. You also get Teddy, and of course you get Pickett as well. So there's a few returning ones, but in terms of seeing new creatures, you do get that, which is really cool to see. There's a lot of stuff they do work on. I just think overall, it's been a very monotone review. It's a very monotone film. I can't massively praise it. As I said, I think it steps in the right direction, but there are still some major issues with it. And of course, with the author of the series, with everything happening there, rightfully there's been issues. There's questions by Warner Brothers. Now, if anyone wants my real personal take, I would much rather Warner Brothers buy the IP. I don't think that would ever happen. I don't think the author would sell them. But it's a really, really tricky situation, especially with new films coming out. Are they going to get extra 2 films? Is Steve Kloves going to stay on board? Are they going to do J.K. Rowling stories? And there's so many varying things. We're going to get another new Grindelwald in the next film. That's 3 in a row now. It's basically the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher curse. A lot of questions, and again, if they want to end it, they can end it early. But overall, I just thought it was fun. It was enjoyable. I enjoyed it. I had a good time. I think a lot of people I was with enjoyed the film as well, which was really nice to see. A few people, on the channels, with Jed, Theo, Reese, and a few others. Charlie obviously was one of the big ones. So it's going to be really interesting seeing how fans of Harry Potter films, Fantastic Beasts, do react to this versus maybe film fans or maybe neutrals. Will the general audience go out and see it? I think they will. But I wouldn't be surprised if Sonic wins the Easter box office battle. I don't know why I keep saying that, but I've got this feeling. So that's probably everything I'm going to say right now on this film. Again, I could go on. It really could go on, but there needs to be a much deeper discussion on that with a lot of sources at hand. A deep discussion point. You won't want to miss anything. And as I said, if you want to know, should I recommend this film? It really depends on your stance. If you're committed to this franchise, then you likely will watch it. If you're worried about the issues, some of the stuff you've seen, and you want to boycott it, more than welcome to boycott it. You know, at the end of the day, you know, with these screeners, we don't get paid to do these. We don't get told to spin this opinion, spin that opinion. You know, we're invited to watch these films, and this is me giving my thoughts on them. So, yeah, the discourse for this film has been very interesting reading from afar, but being close in person to it, it's very interesting reading further into it. So that's all I'm going to say. If that upsets you or not, I really don't care. So please do comment your thoughts on Fantastic Beasts, and please do hit the subscribe and a lot more reviews on the way. Some that will be a lot less difficult than this one. At the time this video going up, we've got Steven Spielberg retrospective carrying on. Jaws is going to be next Tuesday. The Sugarland Express is this Tuesday. A lot of reviews happening, new releases. We've covered Ambulance, Sonic. I didn't do a review for X, but there's been some new reviews, there's been some TV stuff, and there's a lot more on the way. April's going to be a very busy month. We've got The Northman coming out soon and a few other things, so that's going to be me rounding out for the night. If you want to follow us, you want to see more, do get us on our social media, Twitter at cinema_savvy, Facebook and letterboxd.com/cinemasavvy. We've got all our socials on that. That's where we announce our videos. It's the best place to find us. And yeah, that's going to round up for tonight. So thank you all for watching, for sticking through this review. If you kind of see where I'm coming from, just comment it along. It's a very delicate subject to talk about on a video. And I think if you do want a deeper discussion about some of those issues, more about the film itself, I'm more than happy to do that, try and get some other people on for some varying opinions. So do comment that if you'd love to see it. And yeah, so thank you all for watching, and be sure to join us on the next one. Take care.